Well, kia ora koutou everybody. Firstly, thank you for just taking the time to tune into this important and brief message. Given the government announcements today and the impending traffic light systems, we thought it would be good as a St George's leadership just to update you on our current situation and our thinking. As I mentioned on Sunday, it's been an intense month, and Vestry, your elected governing body, have met twice in the past 7 days to discuss all the potential scenarios that could be before us as we begin to move forward. So let me give you a couple of policy process frameworks that will shape and will form any decisions about how we as a church here at St George's will be moving forward. The first and by far the most important one for all of us to take on board, whatever our different perspectives, including mine, is that we belong to the Anglican Church of Aotearoa. So over the past few weeks, the archbishops and the bishops have come together to discuss all the ethical, theological, practical health and safety issues that have been thrown up by these unprecedented times. From these conversations, the Auckland Diocese, under Bishop Ross, to which we at St George's belong, will give us the framework and the policy from which we will then proceed. It's important to know this because I've had a number of people in emails and conversations who have sort of said, so how will St George's approach this issue or that issue under the traffic light systems, Josh? Simple answer has been, we will be working within the policies set out under the authority of the Auckland Diocese and the Bishop. All that said, Bishop Ross has consulted with all the various governing bodies and vestries throughout the Auckland Diocese. We had a questionnaire survey to garner our thoughts and our perspectives on all of these issues. From all of this, they will then decide on a church policy that fits within the government legal guidelines for all gatherings, not just churches. One of the questions asked in the survey, by the way, was whether churches wanted some degree of flexibility that worked for our particular church dynamic. And given that some Anglican churches have 30 people, 100 people, 200 people, even 300 people, we sort of felt that some kind of wriggle room to meet our individual paradigms would be sensible. And 65% of other Anglican churches agreed with this perspective, so we'll see how this pans out. So this is the central moving forward principle to which we are part of. So now just a few brief thoughts that emerge from our two vestry meetings around all of this. Firstly, you don't need me to tell you that all of these issues around mandates, vaccinations and passports have aroused very strong emotions. Families and friends have all felt the strain of our different perspectives. We as a church leadership are very aware of all of these perspectives. I have never spoken about one subject with so many people so many times in my entire life. It's why I said on Sunday that I was so heartened by the spirit within our vestry. Not surprisingly, everyone on vestry had different thoughts on all the different issues before us. But we all agreed that we are the body of Christ, and with much prayer and the Spirit's wisdom, we will proceed forward in a way that is centered on the safety of all, but very much within the grace and the love of Jesus Christ. Everyone on vestry agreed to reinforce unity and avoid division, to find ways where we can meet safely but without discrimination. This will require, of course, much prayer and much wisdom, but it's who we are, it's who we intend to be. So to begin to conclude, a couple of guiding principles that came from our discussions. In fact, 3. Firstly, there's nothing to be gained by trying to rush back and gather as a church community. Under traffic light red, there won't be an option anyway. We couldn't fulfill the legal criteria for gatherings. Traffic light orange gives us the option, but not without practical, ethical and theological misgivings. It's already been indicated by the diocese that any gatherings will require masks, we won't be able to sing, and we can't take communion. Secondly, we are proceeding very much 1 week at a time. Speculation is kind of pointless. We need to see not only the levels that we will be operating under, but just as importantly, what is the spiritual temperature of people within these levels? I think past experience has shown us that we all have different levels of anxiety about gathering because we all have our own different family health considerations of our own. If COVID has taught us all one big wisdom, it is don't make too many plans, and what plans you do make, hold them lightly because they are likely to change. Hold them lightly. Thirdly, we're working on the premise that gathering as a church before Christmas is extremely unlikely. So all of our energies will be going into our online presence. We will keep endeavouring to make our online services a time of engagement and nourishment for our worship, spiritual nourishment. And from a personal perspective, it's your continued engagement with our services and our Zoom gatherings that has really sustained me in my own personal journey. I can tell you that. So this is where we are up to. I hope this has been helpful and encouraging. If you have any questions at all related to this, as always, please feel free to contact me at any time. In the meantime, we just want to thank you for your incredible prayer support, your real encouragement, and the love that we've felt and received. There will be challenges ahead for all of us. This is a very special community with a very special spirit. And if we stay centered in the way of Christ, obedient to the Spirit's leading, we will all get through this. And I'm convinced that we will emerge even stronger as a St. George's community. So thank you for taking the time to listen, and God bless you all.